without further ado, here's Off the Cuff with Taryn Delanie Smith. Taryn, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
It's so good to see you. Weather is
Thank you.
nice.
It's gorgeous. I got my Birkenstocks on. I
I
don't know if
see your
people at home
toes
can
is out,
see
all
it.
it
The
out.
dogs is out.
Yeah.
You know, I got my Birks on. That's how you know it's a good day.
It is. It is. Sun is shining. Taryn, it's so great to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Honestly, I'm honored and grateful to have you in the same presence. And I was thinking about the last time we connected in person. It was
Yeah.
actually the first time we saw each other. It was about a year ago, and I saw you on stage creating tons of laughter in the room. You were doing your skits. You were hosting one of the events, and what I admired was, of course, what you were doing on stage, but more so what you were doing off stage. And what you were doing off stage was hugging everybody, making everybody feel seen, valued, putting a smile on their face. And a lot of people were coming up to you.
Thank
They were all just asking you questions. And what I loved about those moments and what I appreciate was that you were actually giving everybody some time of their day, right?
Thank you.
Time of your day, really inspiring them and making them feel seen and valued. Why is that so important to you?
Oh man, it is too early in the interview for me to tear up. Man, I will cry. Okay, that's really kind of you to mention. I don't know any other way for us to be on this earth other than in community with each other. I think the greatest blessing, I'm so lucky to do what I do because I get to day in and day out connect with people, and people are able to come up to me. People come up to me and they're like, "I'm excited to see you," or "Your work meant something to me," or "You make me laugh," and I get this choice every day to affirm people that I think they're important and that I love them and that I care about them, and I try to do that as much as I can. Yeah. And I would say part of it, I'm sure, is because I know how it feels to not be seen. I know how it feels to feel invisible. I know how it feels to not be affirmed in who you are, right? Like I was a weird kid. I was a weird kid, and that's okay. So I know how it feels to be othered, and I think when you know how that feels, people tend to go one of two directions. They're so hurt by that, understandably so, that they want other people to feel as hurt as they felt. And I see that all the time. I think a lot of things that that happen to us in the world can be attributed to that. Like whenever somebody's hurtful towards me, I'm like, oh, okay, so you're just hurting. You went through something, I get it. Or you can make the correct choice, which is you never want to let anyone else, if you can control it, you never want anyone else to feel unseen by you. And I'm not a saint, I'm not a perfect person. I always worry all the time. Like, I hope I gave this person a good experience with me. Like, that's really important to me. So it's nice that you saw that. That's important to me. I want people to feel comfortable around me, and I want them to feel loved.
Yeah.
If I can.
Absolutely. And I think that's what came off that night, right? I remember seeing a woman that probably had a little bit too many drinks, kind of stumbled across you, but you just held her up. You held, like, it was just so heartwarming, right? And I think oftentimes, we see all the amazing content you're doing, but, right, and does it resonate in person? And I think it resonates 10 times more than what we see online and stuff. So just thank you just for being so welcoming and so honored to just reciprocate
nice.
that.
Well, you're making me feel very seen right now, because that is so important to me. Like, the worst thing someone could ever say to me was, oh, I don't know, like, Taryn just, I felt blown off by her, whatever. If I ever hear that feedback, I'm heartbroken. Like, that's awful. I'm not saying it's not possible, though. Like, maybe I was busier, I don't know. But if I've ever made you feel that way, I'm so sorry, my boy. I'm so sorry, my boy. Give me a break. I'm so sorry. Yeah, no, I think that is all we are called to do on this earth, is just do your very best to see the person in front of you.
Absolutely.
And that's not always easy, but I think it is the most important thing that you can do with your time.
Yeah, absolutely. And even in that same moment, right, and, I want to kind of briefly touch upon it, because in that same moment, you and I were talking, I was just like, we need to make this happen. You need to get on the show. I want to learn more about your story. And you told me in that main moment, you was like, you know what, we're going to make it happen, but it wasn't easy, just to let you know, right?
Did I say that?
Yeah, you said.
The drama.
No, it wasn't easy
so
to
dramatic.
get to this point. I was just like, yo, I'm intrigued. Let me learn more. And as I was doing my research, I'm like, wow, the journey to get to where you are today wasn't easy.
Well, kudos to you, by the way, because we've had to reschedule and we've had to, like, make our things work. You are so tenacious in your reach out, and you're so personal. Like, you don't have, an assistant do it or someone I wouldn't recognize. You came back to me multiple times, like, hey, does this work? Does this work?
Yes.
So thank you so much. I really noted that. It makes me want to come on the show.
Listen,
like, you're
we
very
here
good
now.
at what you do.
I appreciate
like,
that.
You're very personable, and you, like, I can tell that you take what you do you take storytelling very seriously. And I really respect that. It's very
Thank
cool.
you. I appreciate that, you know,
Yeah.
because it's so much that we have to share. And I think the memories and moments that we have is all we have, right? So how do you continue to amplify them to create those
Yeah.
inspirational moments? So I want to dive into the foundation, right? Mama Dukes, she is the foundation to a lot of who you are, how you become, and how you operate in the world, because I think she taught you so much. So can you take us a little bit more about those upbringings of how it was for you growing up, but also what did some of those lessons from your mother kind of weigh into you and kind of you hold on to this point?
Oh my God, my mom's the best. She's a single mom. My dad is in my life, but she was very much our primary caregiver. And when I was born, my parents weren't together. So I've only ever known my mom as, you know, just doing so much for us. And my mom didn't have an opportunity to go to college. She very much wanted to.
Yeah.
And she was always really, really clear that she was like, man, if I could have, I would have. And she was like, I want you to go. And she was always really clear that she wanted us to go to college. And she was always really clear that she wanted her kids to be leaders, to be moral. And, like, you know, I remember out of everything, that was of the utmost importance to her. Everything else kind of went by the wayside. Like, you know, like, I mean, honestly, like, if my room was messy or, like, you know what I mean? Or, I know good grades were important to her.
Yeah.
But when I was, like, struggling through math class and I was, like, late to school a lot, she was annoyed at me about it. But I didn't really get punished for that. I would absolutely be punished if she felt that I did not act. So, yeah, she was strict about certain things. But the only time I ever really got in trouble growing up was when she felt I did not act as a leader, or I did not act morally, or I wasn't kind. Like, that's when she was like, you know better. Wow. Like, you know better. And and so, I don't know, my mom was a huge part of that. I also think that my mom was always really clear that she wanted me to be myself. Even when it's hard to be yourself. Knowing she was raising me, because I was like, you know, I was this weird kid who did accents, and I was singing all the time and dancing, tap dancing around town. I wore tap shoes to this grocery store. Couldn't tap well, but I did it anyway. You know, I did odd things like that. I was an odd kid, and I love that my mom never tried to curtail that or make me smaller or be like, can you just act like this for company and then you can go back to being yourself? She never did that.
I love that.
And I would have imagined it would have been easier too. I mean, hell, if I had that kid without my mom's upbringing, I wonder if I would
like kind of be like, hey,
yeah, I'd be like, can you want to, like, I don't know, she was never afraid of the fact that, like, I wasn't ever going to really fit in. She wasn't worried about it. I was worried about it. I'm like, wow, this is times are tough. I'm odd. And so, yeah, my mom is just really, really cool about allowing me to be myself. And if anything, she was like, make sure other people feel like they can be themselves around you.
Yeah.
You know? Don't make yourself smaller. And so that's a huge part of who I am.
I love that. You know, and you mentioned, you know, being odd and being weird, wearing different type of shoes to do different things. No, I'm talking about
the bars.
When did you start really embracing that side of you, right? Of just showing up as your true authentic self, you know, and other people may have said it was weird or odd, but like, when did you start to fully embrace that?
Man, I feel like I'm true to this and I knew this. I've been like this my whole life. Yeah. I've always been like that. I mean, even when I've tried to act differently to fit a certain mold, it just never really went well for me. Or I couldn't keep it up long. I joke all the time that, you know, when you walk into your room and you want to be mysterious, I can't be mysterious to save my life. So I don't know. I think I've always just been who I am. I don't think, though, that I realized the power of it, that it wasn't a curse, that it was actually a really great thing.
Absolutely.
Until probably I started this career. Because up until I was a comedian and a clown, my personality and who I am, it seemed to be an obstacle in my life sometimes. Like, I remember I wanted to be a diplomat. I wanted to go in human rights work, and I wanted to work for the UN. That was my dream job because I just really wanted to help people. And so I often got feedback that I needed to, like, dial it back. You know, like, you're a lot, you're on 10, like, take it down. Which is understandable when you're working in that kind of government work. Like, you have to be really taken seriously.
Conservative, yeah.
And I got that feedback a lot, and that was really hard for me because I always thought, man, like, no, I think the only way I can ever really I think I have an obligation to be who I am, to really help people. I think we all have an obligation to be who we are. So that was hard feedback to receive. I'm sure there's a lot of people listening that get that feedback.
Absolutely.
So I understand how that feels like rejection, to be told you need to be different to go where you want to go.
Yeah.
And so instead I just changed the direction. And I'm really glad that I did.
Yeah. And, we're definitely going to dive into that direction because, you like to say literally happened overnight. And what I like to believe is that you were actually practicing all of this that you're doing now every day.
Yeah, probably.
In those jobs that you were doing, right? So
yeah.
As you can see, the Seattle hat, it was intentional for this, right? Because you are from Seattle, you navigated to New York, right? But I want to know a little bit more before the millions of views, before the millions of followers and stuff. Who were you before all of that? What was life really like?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much the same. I wish I could be like, I was so different, man. No, I was really much doing the same thing, just nobody cared. I have always just been sort of like the class clown. Look, I was very loud, rambunctious. I did not feel that I fit in Seattle. I love my hometown. I love Seattle. I love West Seattle. But I grew up at the time at least, like I grew up in a predominantly white community, especially in West Seattle. So I just in so many ways always felt that I was an ugly duckling, like I was just this odd person that did not fit. Again, I knew I was different and I knew I was weird and loud. It didn't always feel like a positive thing. It just felt that it was the way it was.
Yeah.
And I did theater, which was really a great outlet.
Yeah.
Theater kids, man, like theater was
all the dots are connected.
Yeah. Theater was a great outlet for my weirdness and the characters that I wanted to become. I loved being on stage. I think being in theater was like the one time that people cheered for my oddness. Yeah, and I think that's why so many actors and so many characters, theater kid is such a thing because it's like the one place where people are gonna start cheering for you for being too much. And so, yeah, and then by the time I moved to New York, I didn't do theater in college because, frankly, I just had kind of discounted the fact that I was like, well, everyone in New York is so talented.
Yeah.
Like, people move to New York to do Broadway.
For sure.
And I'm like, I'm not Broadway talented. I don't think that I'm good enough to do that, even though I like it. Yeah. So instead, I was like, where else am I good? I'm really good with people. So I was like, I'm going to go into a field in which I can work with people and help people. That's what I wanted to do. And so the next best thing to me seemed like diplomacy was the way, because I was going to get to sort of help people, be in a really public-facing role, and I'd be good at that.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny that the universe forced me and redirected me back to kind of the original dream.
Yeah. And it is, though, because, you go from wanting more for your life, right? And I think you picked up the phone one time, you called your mom seeking hope, seeking inspiration, seeking an outlet to say, hey, Mom, I really want my life to begin.
Yeah.
Right? I think we all do that in our life at some point in our life where we're itching for more. We know that our reality is not what we want it to be, and we're always dreaming for more. Can you take us back to that conversation really quickly and talk about how it was and what were you experiencing at that time? I
mean, I have always been very hungry. Like, hungry. You know, that feeling of just like, I want it all. I really wanted, it's not about fame or money. For me, I was always hungry for this colorful, loud, beautiful life. That's what I wanted. I wasn't even really sure what that looked like, with lots of people in it. And I wanted all these things. And so I was waitressing and going to school full time. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna become this amazing diplomat. I had very lofty goals. I was like, I'm gonna be a diplomat and I'm gonna change the world and I'm gonna live that colorful, really full life where I'm making an impact on people's lives and I have this eclectic group of people around me and I can be myself. That's what I really wanted. And I always thought like one day I would end up, because of diplomacy, I always thought that I would end up maybe having my own show where I wasn't sure how I was gonna do it. Silly me, I don't know. I was just like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it all. That's what I was gonna do. And then COVID happened. And I lost an opportunity that I was really excited about. I was gonna work in diplomacy at this one agency in New York City, and that internship fell through. That all closed down. And then I lost my job as a waitress. I showed up for the brunch shift, and they were like, we don't have any tables for you, don't have work for you. And I was like, oh, okay, so I'll come back tomorrow. And they were like, no, we're closing. And I was like, oh my God. That was the first time that I realized that COVID was going to be really serious, that it wasn't going to be 2 weeks. I think everybody thought it was going to be maybe 2 weeks. That was when I realized that I was like, okay, this is really serious. So I lost my job as a waitress, and I came home, and home was a dorm. I was living in student housing for St. John's University, and they announced that we all had 48 hours to vacate student housing because of COVID. Right. And most people just went home because they lived in neighborhoods. But I was like, I can't leave New York. I have a life here. I have traction here. My mom is older, and so at the time I was really afraid to fly home because remember there was a lot of fear around travel, and so I was really afraid of coming from busy New York City to be with my mom. So I didn't go home. And so instead, I found a room in Bed-Stuy for $775 a month, and it was above a chop shop on Atlantic Avenue. And I got a job. I was cleaning empty apartments. So for Airbnb, there were just a bunch of empty apartments everywhere, and I met a guy who was managing in those rooms. Sorry, I'm telling this in such a roundabout way. Let's get to the point. I got a job cleaning houses. So I was cleaning apartments. And as you can imagine, about a few months into this, of course, I'm like, wow, my life really doesn't look like what I thought it was. It's not that big, beautiful, colorful life that I thought I was going to have. And I remember I was cleaning this awful bathtub. It was like black on the inside to this day.
Humble
it was rough.
moments,
I was cleaning a bathtub. But I still look cute. I would like do my makeup in here. Like I was really cute when I was doing that shit. Because I wanted to look good, and I'm listening to Whitney Houston.
You still had that drive. Yeah.
And I was actually pretty good about it. I used to, when I was cleaning houses, sometimes I would make acceptance speeches. Like I would look in the mirror and I would do acceptance speeches to myself of like an Oscar or like an award or something. Because I just was like, I know that one day this will be part of my story. Like this is going to be I had to keep telling myself, this is going to be a great story one day. And I called my mom, and I was cleaning a bathtub on a day that I was not feeling quite so hopeful. And I was like, Mom, like I know everything is going to work out because I have faith. Like I know I was meant to do something beautiful with my life. Yeah. And I know it's gonna happen. And I always say that, like, I was like, I don't wanna be negative. I know it's gonna happen. I just feel like my life is on the precipice of beginning. And I just wanna start my life. And this is really hard. And my mom was like, Taryn, your life has begun. This is your life. So you better make it beautiful now. Like she was like, this is your life. You're in it now. And I was like, yes, you're right. I have a choice to make. I can make this beautiful. It's my choice. Wow. And so I did. And so I kept making my acceptance speeches. And I kept cleaning, and I kept singing songs. And I made friends with the people on the block that I could. And I remember walking in Manhattan during COVID, and every day, I don't remember I think it was at 6 p.m., people would bang pots and pans to thank service workers.
Wow, yes. Yeah.
And I remember...
It was a whole movement.
Yeah, it was really cool. And I remember I was a choice. I'm standing on the corner with my mask on. And I like took out my cleaning supplies, and I was like banging my cleaning supplies with everyone. And I remember thinking, this is wonderful. Like this is a joyful moment. Even in all the shit, like this is still, my life is still beautiful. This moment is still beautiful. I am still joyful. And so I've been able to take that with me. So in every other awful job I had after that, I think I just kept that energy. I don't like to talk a lot about manifestation because I don't think it takes into account the different needs of other people. Like, I think it's frustrating when people are like, manifest that shit, queen. Yeah. And it's like, hold on. There are certain disparities that we have to acknowledge. Yeah. It was probably easy for me to start making content because I was not a single mom with 3 kids.
Right.
Like, I was able to work all night as a waitress and go to college when my mom wasn't able to do that because she had kids. So when I'm just manifest it, I was positive. No. And don't cut this out of context where it says it sounds like I believe that because I had a lot of privileges. I was really lucky that I was able to do a lot of the things and have the mindset I was able to have and struggle the way I did and still land on my feet. I want to always acknowledge that because I think people listen to me talk about that, And I would never want someone to feel like it's their fault that things aren't going their way. It's not your fault. You're doing a good job. I'm looking at the camera now.
Yeah, please.
You're doing a good job. You are going to be fine. Your life is right now, and your life is beautiful, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it can be hard sometimes, and it's not your fault. We can't control a lot of the circumstances that happen to us.
Yeah.
We can only control how we react.
Absolutely. And thank you just for being so vulnerable, so honest. And as you were painting a picture, I can see those acceptance speech soon and will continue to develop and roll out for you. And I definitely want to see the before, and I want to see the after when it happens, you know, so please make sure to kind of cut that out. But you really had a choice, you said, you know, my life starts now, and you have a choice with the resources and information that you have now, and you made it happen, right? You go from doing all of that, Airbnbs, being a receptionist, waitress, and so on and so forth, to getting millions of followers and views over content that you now promoted. So now you're living as a content creator, influencer, a writer, an actor, doing so much more, right? Tell me about what will you tell young Taryn looking back right now to say, you know what, I wanted my life to begin. Is this the life you always envisioned?
Yeah, but I would probably just tell her, keep it pushing, my boy. You're doing a good job. Keep it up. Like, that's what I would say. Like, I regret nothing. I think I did a really good job. Like, I've worked on this a lot, frankly, in therapy, being kinder to myself and like being kinder to I'm really hard on myself. So it takes a lot for me to say, I think I'm doing a good job, and I think I was doing a good job. And I want to be extra kind to a younger version of myself. That was very messy in a lot of ways. Like, oh my God, just so many things that I did, like, that I accepted a lot of treatment that I look back and I dislike. I let people treat me badly. And I regret that. I find it embarrassing sometimes. Like, I don't even like talking about it because I totally like let myself, even as a grown-up, I kind of let myself get bullied. And I'm not proud of that, because I believe in standing up for yourself, and I believe in standing up for other people. So if I were to look back and I would change anything, I would be like, don't be so afraid all the time. That makes me emotional. Like, don't be so afraid. Like, I'm afraid now. Like, it's exhausting to be frightened all the time. And I don't think being frightened is useful, a useful emotion. And so I guess if I could go back and tell myself anything, I'd say, you're doing a good job, but just stop being so frightened all the time. A lot of fear, I think, is our body trying to protect us from something. So we lean into it and we allow ourselves to be afraid. But I was afraid to stand up for myself. I was afraid to take risks. I was afraid of what people thought of me, despite seeming really confident. And so I just think that I would tell myself to stop being so frightened. You're gonna be fine. You just as long as you keep putting one foot in front of the other, you're gonna be fine. The worst thing you can do is die, and then you're dead. So
that's it, you know. And that's so they wrote. Wow. Again, thank you, and I just love how you're just dropping so many different gems, right? And you know, therapy, honestly, for me, has been such a healing moment as well. Like, I had to unlearn, to relearn, and do so many different things. And now that, you know, I'm in different seasons, it's just like, you know, not being afraid, right? And being able to take fear at the forefront and being able to navigate that, right? Like, to start, I usually get a little nervous, right? But the more you do it, it's like the nerves start to calm down. It's just like, how do you put yourself in position so you can fully surrender? Right? And I think that's been super important to me. Like, if, like we talked about it earlier, it's just like, when you stop getting fearful, when you stop getting nervous of certain things, you probably should stop doing it. Right?
Yeah, because then it's like, where's the thrill's gone? Exactly. And that like pushes you so much.
Exactly.
So the nerves are good, but I do think that so many of us live so fearfully, and I know that I have. And it's so exhausting, and I'm working on it. Like, I'm working on not being so frightened all the time, because I really don't like it. Like, I envy and admire people who are so fearless, or at least they appear to be. I really love people like that.
What's one thing you're focused on to navigate that fear?
One thing I'm focused on to navigate fear? What am I focused on? Well, in therapy, I talk a lot about we talk a lot about.
And I love the way you come up with the therapy sessions. Like, yo, it might, sometimes I saw the videos. Like, sometimes I just want to get off the phone and tell my therapist I love you.
Yeah, I love my therapist. That's my girl. So my therapist, I always wonder if she sees any of my content. Are you watching this, Diva? I love you. In therapy, one thing that I'm working on to navigate fear is like, she always goes, okay, look at all these other predicaments you've been in your life. Did you figure it out? And I'm like, yeah, I've always survived it. The thing. Like, and I've always worked. In fact, I actually really thrived in some of those difficult times. When I lost my job, I remember feeling so motivated to not be afraid. I was like, I can't be a bitch right now. I gotta go. I remember being like, I got this. And I feel like I really thrived in those environments. So reminding myself of like, in the past, did you always survive? Yes. Did you always make it through? Yes. You will survive whatever comes. Being afraid of the hypothetical is such a waste of your time and not giving yourself enough credit.
Yes.
You will navigate whatever comes. That is life. That's living.
Absolutely.
So you have to.
You have to. I love that, and talking about overcoming fear and being healing and really diving into that.
Yeah.
Denise is such a pivotal movement, a global movement, right? For so many people. It provides healing, it provides comfort, it provides so much solitude for so many people, right? I'm curious to know from your perspective, we understand and know what it means to so many other people, but what does it mean for you and what inspired it for you to develop Denise?
Well, originally I can't pretend like it was supposed to be this beautiful, like, like it was just a skit before originally. And it was just funny. I just thought it was funny.
It's crazy how we just have an idea, just morphs into so much something more bigger.
Yeah, I just thought Denise was like this funny idea, and that like, what if heaven was like the DMV? And I just thought that was really funny. And it's not it's not like I'm the first person to ever play with that. I've seen lots of different versions of that skit since then, and people will tag me and be like, Taryn Delanie Smith, like you're copying Taryn. And I'm like, no, they're not.
Yeah.
The idea of the personification of heaven and the power that be, like, that's not necessarily this revolutionary thing. So I don't think that what I did was revolutionary. I think it was just a funny skit. What was revolutionary was the way that people made it mean and how people reacted to this character Denise. But I think what was really cool is how my community reacted to it. That was really, really revolutionary. That people saw Denise as this she was like really dry and sardonic and honest and no nonsense. And they found her so comforting and they found her so personable, and like they knew her and they wanted their loved ones to meet her. And so I always say that like now Denise is really just for everybody who's ever loved somebody so much that you look up, right? That you look up when you think about them. That they would be casually having a drink with Denise. And I'm really honored by that. I really hope, I want to do so much more in my career. Yeah. But if that's all that people remember at the end of the day, I'm cool. I'm really cool with that. Wow. I'm really, really grateful for what she's meant to people.
I love that. Is there a story that you hold on to that made you realize that you should probably be living in more gratitude or love deeper or love harder? You don't have to give the details of it, but is there one that kind of sticks to you to say, you know what, this is actually a reminder for myself?
I'll be honest. I have always, like, I sometimes say, like, I feel loosely sewn together. Like, there's so many emotions in my heart that I cry all the time. And it's funny, I joked before, I'm like, oh, I can't cry, but I don't really feel embarrassed about crying. Like, I don't.
I'm a crier too.
I'm a crier. And I think we always say, like, I hate when influencers cry on the internet or when people cry in interviews. And I'm like, but why? Like, we don't hate when people crash out online, right? We're not uncomfortable with them being angry or going on a rant. Crying is just as normal of an emotion as I was ranting or being angry, and I think it's just as important. So we have to give it kudos. I think it just makes people uncomfortable. Yeah. So I will say that, like, I have so many emotions. I cry all the time. I cry multiple times a week. I'll cry because I see something on the street that just touched my heart, and I'm cool with that. So I think I've always really loved this deeply. Like, I've always I think that's something I'm really good at. I love people very much. And when I was a kid, my mom got sick. My mom had breast cancer and she almost died. And watching her get so sick and having that conversation with her of who's going to take care of us when she's gone, and that fear of, you know, of just like how unfair it feels to lose someone, or maybe you could lose that person. It makes you so aware of the fact that, like, how lucky am I to love you so much that the idea of living without you is unbearable. And so that happened to me when I was like 7. And I'm so grateful my mom is still with us.
Thank
and like,
God.
I love my mom and she's
Yes.
great. But because of that experience, like whenever I say goodbye to people, I always want to say I love you to everybody when I say I love you, bye, because you know what I mean? Like, I'm not embarrassed about that. That's why I joke. I want to say I love you to my therapist because I just want people around me to know that I love them. So anyways, I think I've always been like that. And I don't plan on changing anytime soon.
I love that. You know, I appreciate you so much for just being so open, and I love that, because it's like we're normalizing certain things we try to like keep in private, but like how do you publicize? Like, but even like the I love you, right? Like it's something that we try to just use for the people that we care about, but like loving somebody can be in different forms, right? It could be through actions, through words, and so on and so forth. So I love that how you're incorporating that through every interaction.
Yeah, and I love you to even a stranger on the street, being like, I have a level of love and affection for even strangers I meet. That does not mean we're all mushy gushy all the time of like, you know, you can be a doormat. Like, I love you can also look like I love you. You're being an asshole right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's I love you too. Hey, I love you. And I'm going to let you know. I didn't like what you just said. And I really disagree with it. And I really disagree with your politics. Not you, don't worry. I don't know. But like your politics, I really don't like that you hold this belief that I think is, you know, for X, Y, and Z reasons, problematic or wrong. I love you still. And I'm going to tell you why I don't think that this aligns with us being in community together.
Yeah.
And you feel free to disagree with me.
Yeah.
We can still love each other after. But that doesn't always mean that I'm gonna like just sit by and agree with everything that you say. So like when I talk about being love, I'm not like a hippie that's like, let's just all be in love together all the time. I think love is a multifaceted, multidimensional thing, but I think it's the most important thing.
Absolutely. So universal, you know, and one of the things you do very well is loving yourself. And I like to think about another key moment in your life and your career is that you were also the first Black Miss New York to be crowned wearing your natural hair.
Yeah.
That's very important and very critical and pivotal and transformational for so many people in this industry, right? So many people in the world, right? What would you say to all the women who are tuning in right now about truly showing up as your true authentic self and embracing your uniqueness and all the gifts that are inside of you?
Yeah, well, I would say that looks different for everybody. And it's part of it, like for some women wearing, especially for Black women, wearing their hair in a weave or wearing a wig, like that's also an expression of who they are. So I want to say that too. For me at that time, it just felt really important to wear my natural hair because I never had. And I realized that the reason I hadn't, in this specific scenario, the reason I hadn't is I just hadn't seen anyone else win with their natural hair.
Wow.
So I was like, fuck that, I'm gonna do it. Cause I'm gonna win.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna win with my natural hair. Like that's how I felt, right? But when it comes to self-expression, I think that it's allowed to mean different things to different people. You just have to be prepared for the fact that not everybody's gonna like it. Not everybody's gonna understand it. Not everyone's going to understand you. Okay. You have to do it anyway. You have to keep going. To comply with doubt, to comply with people saying, you know, who you are is not quite right, and we need you to just pivot. We need you to adjust to fit into this mold that we see for you. That might get you where you're going faster. And if that's what you want, fine, go do it. I would like to make an argument for the slower route of doing it your way.
I love it.
Yeah, I think it's worth it.
For sure. It for sure is, you know. And as we're navigating through the path here and kind of wrapping up on the last couple of questions, one of the things, and we talked about it offline, is that you entered a new season, right? And the one thing that you and I are both have in common is that we're about to hit a 1 year of being married,
Married,
right?
and your wife's here, Angie.
Yeah, so Angie's here.
Angie, girl, shout out.
Shout
She
out
does
to
the most, guys.
Angie.
She mic'd me up. She's got the camera behind. She's doing the most.
I love her so
Go,
much,
Angie.
you know.
And you guys are so supportive of each other. That is so cool.
Thank you. She
You're
is
very
my
lucky.
rock, you know. And from your perspective, leaning in on you, you're about to hit a 1 year of being married. So congratulations, early congrats. What has this 1 year taught you about yourself?
Ooh, that's a great question. That I love being married. I think it's great.
I love that.
Being married is so underrated
it's different,
these days.
And I love it too. Yeah.
I think it's great. I love being in companionship. Family is very important to me. And I will say, I guess if you had asked me 5 years ago, is family important to you? The programmed response is yes. You just have to say, of course. It's like, we're programmed to say, yes, family is important. So like, I realize how important family is and how much joy my marriage brings to my life. I am very private with my marriage. Sometimes people will message me and be like, why don't you share your husband more? Why doesn't your husband talk in your videos? Like, why don't you? That's because it's private, Diva. All right? Lay off. Love you, though. I just think I cherish my marriage so much, having it be really, I don't think, it's not secretive. I just keep certain things private.
Absolutely, as you should.
But more than anything, it is because it is such a huge source of joy in my life. Like, I really love my husband, and I really love what we have, and I'm really grateful for it. And I think that I am so pleasantly surprised every day by how much joy my private life brings me, like my life with my husband and my friends, and I love having a dinner table full of people, and I love to look around it and be like, oh, I did this, like I created this table of people, and I'm so glad. Wow. So yeah.
You love to host.
I love to host, and I think that's, for me, part of my marriage, and I love it.
Yeah, my wife is the same way. She loves to host. She loves, very intentional on like the logistics, the napkins, the placement, like
Angie.
all of that, so it's very particular. But I love that you were able to share that. And I love how you balance it, because you definitely do need a good balance.
Yeah.
All the things that you're doing, but also being able to go, not take work home, right? And I think that's super important. As we're looking kind of what's next for you in what you're doing and kind of the dreams you're chasing, what are you currently seeking for yourself? I know I've seen voice acting is something that you got into. I just saw you in a Nordstrom commercial, right?
Thank you.
I'm seeing it all kind of map out for you, but what is something that you're personally still seeking for yourself?
I just love writing and acting, and so the more I can do it, the happier I am. And whether it's putting it out on my own channel, because that's so cool that we can do that as content creators.
1000%.
That's so cool, right? You have an idea, you wrote something, and nobody cares. Fine, I'll make it. You know what I mean? I think it's good.
Right, exactly.
I care. I'm gonna make it. That's so cool. But of course, being able to be in collaboration with other people, like that's what I think. The idea of having something you wrote be bought by somebody, for me, it's more about like it gives you opportunity to be in collaboration with so many more people, and it makes your ideas even better and even brighter and even bigger. So that's really cool. And so yeah, I love when I get to be part, whether it's my own project or I'm getting actually to help other people with their projects and write on other people's projects now. That's so cool. Because like the whole point of all of this, to tell stories really well, is to do it together. It's just so much better that way.
1000%.
Yeah.
And I love that. And thank you so much again for just sharing your light and shining your light and stuff. And the last couple of questions here, and I promise we'll kind of like put this bow on it. For everybody watching this right now that's waiting for their moment or for their life to happen, right? Wanting more for themselves, what would you share with them at this moment right now?
First of all, be so grateful you have that feeling. That is such a beautiful feeling that's pushing you to get out of bed and go do the thing and try again and get yourself out there and fail in public. Fail publicly. I mean, I competed for 6 years to win Miss New York before I won, which means I lost for 6 years. I lost for 5.
Yeah, 5, yeah.
I lost over and over and over and over again. I got to the third time, I absolutely had people in my life being like, are you sure you want to keep doing this? Is it worth it? And I'm like, yes, because I'm hungry and because I want it and because I want to experience this and because I believe in myself. So if I didn't have that feeling, it would have been way easier to just quit. And if I didn't have that feeling, the first time I put content out there and something flopped, or people were in the comments were saying, you know, making fun of my looks, right? Or saying I'm not all that funny, or women aren't funny. I've gotten that comment before. If I had let that stop me, if I didn't have that feeling of motivation, of belief, of hunger, then I would have stopped then. I think it comes down to recognizing you have that feeling for a reason. That was not put within you by mistake. Whatever God you pray to, put that magic in your heart.
For sure.
To push you forward, to keep searching, to keep going, to keep creating. So be so grateful for that feeling. That feeling can feel like a curse because it can create so much frustration when things aren't going the way you want them to go. Hearing no paired with that feeling is devastating. I get told no all the time. I got told no yesterday. I won't even tell you why, but I did. But I'm gonna keep going.
For sure.
You have to keep going. And be grateful for that feeling because it is evidence of your magic and of your talent. And whatever it is that you want to say, it's evidence that it's worthwhile.
I love that. Well, Taryn, let's go. I definitely just wanted to say,
let's go.
Like, I didn't even move. Let's go. I can't move because I'm like, yo, if I adjust this way, the camera's going to move. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to give you your flowers for everything that you continue to do.
Thank you.
For the light that you are, for being an inspiration, for that moment where I saw you on stage. But I said, like, what I found most captivating was what you did off stage.
Thank you.
And you do that every day. You know, you treat people with so much joy, with so much light. You give them so much hope. So I just want to give you your flowers.
Thank you. I'm giving you your flowers. No one ever gives you your flowers because I see you giving everyone their flowers. You see people in such a beautiful way, and you really make sure people can tell their stories, and it's really, really important. Thank you so much for doing that. I'm sure there are times when it seems like more trouble than it's worth, when people's schedules are difficult. But you keep going, and that's really beautiful. And Angie, your flowers. You're doing such a good job.
Let's go.
She is so sweet. I walked in and where's my camera? He gave me a hug, and she immediately put her camera down and gave me a hug and said hi to me. It's just little things like that that really, I really believe in what you guys are doing. You're doing such a good job.
Thank you.
I love the way you want to tell people's stories and amplify people. I think that's really, really worthwhile and cool. And you do it in such an authentic and cool way.
I appreciate you.
You're so thoughtful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I am a crier, you know what I'm saying? I feel it right here. I don't know if it's the light kind of shining bright, you know.
My boy.
I appreciate you.
You got it. I'm so excited. And thank you all the research you did. That was really, a lot of people, which is okay, that people get busy, so not a lot of people take the time to do the research and like quote someone back to them. I'm not all that famous or anything. So the fact that you took the time to do that research makes me feel really important. So thank you.
Because I care about you.
I
care about you. I care about your story, and I just want to say thank you for this moment and for this opportunity here.
Thank you.
If there's anything you want to leave the audience from your story at this moment right now, what would it be?
You're gonna be fine. Just keep going, and be good to yourself. You can be good to yourself and be as good as you can to the people around you with what you got. You got it. It's gonna be fine. We're all gonna be fine.
Let's go.
That's what I want to say.
Let's go. Now I'm moving, you know.
Okay.
I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
And there you have it. That was Off the Cuff with Taryn Delanie Smith.